summer I went on record saying that Breece Hall's ridiculously bad ADP, average draft position, I think it was the RB 16, was just what I said, ridiculous. I thought he would be much better than that. I also thought that Justin Fields' ADP, which for most of the summer was around 10th or 11th best quarterback out of Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and so on, that Fields' ADP was ridiculously too good, that he should have been much lower. And I thought Garrett Wilson would be just about right. In some ways, fantasy outcomes hinge on whether a team is competitive because as they start to fade into the wilderness, as the Jets have, number one, they start jettisoning talent. Number two, their star players are more likely to miss some late season games, if they have nagging injuries, whatever else that they might have otherwise played through if the playoffs were on the line. And so, when the Jets lost on I think it was a 60-yard Chris Boswell kick to start the season against the Steelers, then shortly after that, they lost on a literally last-second field goal and successful drive by the Bucs. And other close losses, winnable games that they have that they didn't, they find themselves, whatever it is. I think they're 2-8, or 2-7, and they're essentially finished. What we have seen though is that Breece Hall has been marginally better than his average draft position. He is in fact, been a good running back with, elite upside, and also some bad games, unexpectedly bad games. I think he's the overall RB12 right now, if I have that right. I looked at it before pressing record. Yes, he's the overall RB12. He's within a stone's throw, a point of jumping to RB11, and he could easily finish top 10 if he just closes things out and he doesn't sit. Garrett Wilson, nagging injuries. I mean, this is a lost season for Garrett Wilson. In part because of Justin Fields' poor play. I had thought that Fields would be good enough to feed one receiver, that no other receiver on that team, no other wide receiver at least, was going to be worth anything in fantasy. I was convinced of that. I did think Mason Taylor would step up and be a number 2 option, rising through the ranks quickly. That has not happened. But all the more reason why Garrett Wilson should have been great. But Justin Fields has been that ineffective. And when he hasn't been on the field, his backup Tyrod Taylor has been so-so, but also has not stayed healthy. And the whole offense, passing attack at least, has been a mess. I want to talk briefly about Justin Fields because the warning signs should have been clear for a lot of folks. Why his ADP for most of the summer was 10 or 11 seemed to be based on one breakout season that people are still using to weigh their how to value this guy. I get that he was a top 10, top 11, draft pick. I did buy into him his rookie campaign. I thought that he could be, I think he even wrote about it on the blog, that he could be the first Bears quarterback to throw for over 4,000 yards in a season and the first Bears quarterback to throw over 30 TD passes. I had gone through every team's history when Justin Fields was drafted and found that every other team, I went basically team by team, history by history, and identified at least one occasion where every other team had had a quarterback throw for at least 4,000 yards, and an occasion where every other team, at least one occasion where a quarterback had thrown at least 30 TD passes. It had never happened for the Bears. I tweeted about it, talked about it on the blog. This is just, and I Googled it, no one was talking about it at that point. It was just one of those things that, hey, this is odd, and Justin Fields could be the guy who makes it happen. In 2022, it was his age 23 season. That's when he broke through. He broke through in large part, not because of his passing. I mean, he threw for barely 2,200 yards in 15 games, threw 17 touchdowns, had 11 interceptions. Nothing remarkable about his passing. He was a run-heavy quarterback. That has obviously major fantasy appeal. I think he finished top 5, top 6 in fantasy quarterbacks that year, give or take, because of his legs. And so if you looked heading into this season, 8 of his top 10 highest rushing yardage performances took place in 2022 or his rookie campaign. Only twice had there been a situation where it took place after that, and in both those cases, it was in 2013. In 2023, the following season. So nothing in 2024, and his yardage essentially and his usage on the ground was dwindling. He was on that trajectory, and it didn't seem that with Brees Hall in the backfield, that Fields would suddenly go back to anywhere close of where he was. In fact, it wasn't just 8 of the top 10 rushing yards; it was 11 of the top 13. Any time if you looked at the 13 instances heading into the season when he'd had at least 60 rushing yards, of those 13, 11 of those occurred in 2022 or 2021. Um, so people's memory of Justin Fields was shown brighter than the reality of asking, why is he ranked ahead of Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams, and so on? Why is this guy who could be benched at any time? He was benched last year. He was basically sent away from Chicago because he was not going to be a franchise quarterback there the year before. This is a guy who has been passed around, and he's not getting it done. I think that at his best, he can still be great. But the question was, could he be great the entire season? There are quarterbacks like that. I mean, you could bet against those kinds of quarterbacks and most of the time be right. Occasionally, we'll be wrong. I didn't think Geno Smith would shine in Seattle when he was battling Drew Lock for the starting job a few years ago. And Lock got hurt. Geno Smith won the job, and the rest is history. I did think Sam Darnold would be great last year with Minnesota, and talked a lot about why and kind of the context that was afforded to him in this situation. Justin Fields did not have a Sam Darnold kind of offense behind him. He had Brees Hall, fantastic, could catch the ball and if utilized effectively in the passing game, could elevate Justin Fields to top 16, top 18 quarterback, including, how he works his legs. Garrett Wilson, elite quarterback, probably will never be, as long until the Jets have a top 10 quarterback, never really see his true potential. But there is no one else. I referenced the other day Kyler Murray as an example of that. Kyler Murray had two great pass catchers entering the season in terms of Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, and then nobody beyond that. Michael Wilson's average draft position among wide receivers was 81st. I thought Wilson would be better than that and help elevate Kyler Murray. It turns out no one is really elevating Kyler Murray, which is partly why he's benched, and partly why he's benched is because Kyler Murray just isn't getting it done with what he has. But you need more than just a Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson in New York if you are going to elevate to that next step. Justin Fields did well last year for what he had. He had less, arguably, this season to work with in terms of elevating his passing numbers. And the assumption should have been that he would not run as much as people thought he would. That again, the memories of 2022 were strong, but we need to push those memories aside. The Justin Fields of today is someone who is a dual threat quarterback who doesn't use his legs nearly as much as he used to, and therefore needs to throw for one or two scores at least to be serviceable, and probably needs to throw for 200 yards to be serviceable. This year, he's thrown for over 200 four times, and he's thrown for 54 or less 4 times. That is not going to get it done. He's thrown more than one TD pass only once, and that was against Dallas, one of the worst defenses in the league. So uh, this is a lesson for the future when we're looking at quarterbacks who are ranked really aggressively because they had some career year 2 or 3 years ago. We have to ask ourselves, is that career year replicable based on the personnel that they have now? And the Jets, despite their misfortune of losing some tough games, and maybe they could have been in another world 4-5 and still pushing for a playoff spot, but the reality is it's hard to win a lot of games when you have Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson and pretty much nobody else as a above average playmaker. And you have a guy like Justin Fields who doesn't do as much with his legs and needs to do a lot more with his arm. I'm BJ Riddell, Fantasy Football for Winners. Follow me on the blog. Email me anytime. Good luck if you've got any Jets going tonight, and certainly any Patriots. We'll see you tomorrow.